be good. I'll shoot you some water if you need. No COVID.
Literally. Well, we're very not COVID. This is not 2 meters away. Excuse me.
You literally did this. Like, calm down.
in.
Calm down. I saw you look at my tits.
I actually told Veronica that she had nice tits.
And I never forgot it. Anyway, so on this episode of Chemical X, we're going to be talking about how Alessia wants to sleep with me. Alessia?
Well,
Any
listen,
comments?
just because I told
Stop
her she
looking at
had
my
nice
tits.
tits.
You literally just looked at my tits.
Well, you said that. You said. Oh my god, I'm guilty.
Yeah, you said. Ready?
Are you speaking or am I?
I mean, you failed your last test of intro, but you could do it if you want. Go ahead. Go ahead. Take the lead.
You start, actually.
Here we go.
Okay, let me start.
Whatever you want.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Hey guys, and welcome to Chemical X. Veronica's already laughing. She could already
counted us in. And a 5, 6, 7, 8. Hello and welcome to.
Anyway, guys, we're on our 10th episode. I can't even believe that we even made it to our 10th episode. Veronica and I have been fighting for God knows how many fucking episodes. This one took the cake, though. We were actually pissed at each other before we started this one. I showed up at her house and I went, wait, are we friends or are we just gonna act civil for this podcast?
I
Anyway.
said Pascal brought us Starbucks, which, by the way, guys, thank you to Pascal for being on our show. Episode 10. Say hi, Pascal.
What's up?
We figured it was our 10th episode. Might as well hit it with a bang. And
Hit it with a bang. We didn't bang Pascal, if anybody's wondering. There's no pun intended there. But yeah, this is Pascal. He is a barber. Tell us about yourself, Pascal.
Yeah, I'm 26 years old, born and raised in Montreal.
Single.
My name is Pasqualino Tequila,
Single,
actually.
if anybody is
Pasqualino.
interested.
Actually, the other day I was talking to my friend and I'm like, oh yeah, you know, we'll get into this. I'm like, yeah, you know, Pascal's moving into my house. He's taking over the lease. And they're like, Pascal. I'm like, yeah, Pascal, your friend. They're like, Pascal. I'm like, the barber? You mean Pasqualino? I went, same fucking thing. Like, calm down. I don't know who Pascal is.
But is
I
your
know who
actual,
Pasqualino
is
is.
your actual name Pascal or Pasqualino?
No, my full name is Pasqualino Joey Tequila. But
Throwing a Joey in there.
a little Joey. That's
Your parents
another
gonna
story.
decide.
Oh my god, if I were them, I would have just said Joey.
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
that was my mom's first idea for my name. But because I come from a long line of Pasqualinos on my dad's side of the family, I had to be a Pasqualino.
Not only did they throw it in,
I
they
like
put it as the
Pasqualino.
first name.
Yeah.
It's just a bit like, do you choose Pas? Do you choose Lino? Do you choose Qua?
You choose
What?
Italian.
So my uncle is Pat, my other uncle's Lino, my grandfather's Pasquale.
I'm leaving.
Oh my god.
Right.
Yeah, Pasquale.
I'm
They literally put it
Pasqualino.
all together and they said,
But les Français, they say Pascal.
Les
And
Français.
shit, I started this podcast saying Pascal, so.
I'm used to it. Honestly, growing up, everyone called me Pascal because, you know, being in Montreal, there is a huge French community.
Yeah.
So they would always butcher and slander my name when they would announce it, you know, on getting
my
on the
God.
ice. Le numéro 27.
Pascal.
Pascal.
Well, I get Véronique.
that
And I
shit.
say,
Ew.
listen, Véronique. Sorry, don't butcher my name like that. I'm a Veronica.
I get Alexia and Alicia and I'm just like,
Come on.
my name's Leandra.
You say it's Alessia, and they say, yeah, that's what I said. And you say, forget it. Alessia.
But like, call me Deandra.
Your
So
friend, Deandra, there.
Oh my
like,
god.
The same as Pascal and
So
Pasqualino.
it's my middle name, but I love it so much. And everyone goes, actually, Alessia, your name is so much better as Alessia. And I say, I wish my name was Deandra.
Well, if you ever
so.
become a stripper, at least you have a second name. He has Joey, you have Deandra. Should I reintroduce as I'm with Deandra and Joey?
Why not?
Veronica?
Why not?
I don't have a middle name. My parents said you get one.
No, literally.
You get one name and you better
And that
like
was the
it.
story of your life.
And one time I changed my Instagram to say Veronica Stella Rossi because I really wanted to.
I couldn't
And
deal with that
I love
stage.
the name Stella.
Really?
And, yeah, and then it lasted like a
I'm
month.
really sorry, but that's the most stripper name here.
Well, I
She
mean,
already had a stripper
how do you think
name.
I
and it
afford
was-
this place?
Speaking of place, though,
So
you're like, yeah, you should take off
Yeah.
this one.
take
Take
off.
off.
Okay, how much you want to fuck me? Jeez, keep the clothes on.
There's
So
not
yeah,
much
so
on, so. Guys, we'll
Whoa.
be
this
back.
is a zoom in.
No.
Is this podcast rated G or PG-13?
Well, is Pascal allowed to be on
R-rated.
this one?
Yeah. How old are you, by the way? Like, are you old enough to be on this podcast? He's like, like I said,
Mentally, I'm
26.
not sure. Physically, 26.
So I don't know how I feel about that one. Is this, Okay. Anyway, speaking of moving in, so Pascal is actually taking over my house, my apartment. He's taking
Yeah.
over the lease. Are you excited?
Honestly, I'm super excited, and I feel like that was my only way to get into this podcast. So I went to that extent, you know.
He signed a lease just so he could come on the show.
I went, listen, because like Veronica's been living here for a bit. It kind of became my place too. So I'm a bit like Pascal. Now that you're moving in, like, first of all, can we keep this room for the podcast? Like, how does it work if we want to like just keep our whole
Can I
setup?
just keep the equipment here?
Can I
know, like the bed sheets that are on the wall?
And can I also treat this place as if it's still Veronica's when you move in? Like, how does that work?
I already have plans for this room. I'm really sorry.
Well,
Me
when
and
I
Claudio
walked
have some
in-
good plans for it.
When I walked in, I said, Pascal, should I say, can I come in? Or do you say, can I come in?
No,
because
no,
is this
it's
your
dead.
house still or is it mine? I'm
Well,
not sure.
funny, when I walked in, I was like, welcome home, people, you know.
Like, literally. Like, do you already have a key? Like, did you just let
No.
yourself in or did you knock?
But like, let's talk a little bit about how we all know each other. So
Yeah.
how do you know Pascal? Because I feel like Pascal and I go way back.
I feel like I go way more back than you two.
You're like, I'm sorry. Like, didn't we have like a thing or something at some point?
Hold on a second.
Funny that you should mention. I'm kidding.
By all means. Guys, I wasn't involved in this thing, by the way. So, continue.
Unfortunate
I guess
for you.
Take the cake. Take the mics, guys.
Oh my god.
So, you guys
Bye,
kissed?
guys.
So how do me and Veronica
Did
know
we?
each
I don't
other?
even know. I can't
Well, how do you
remember.
guys know each other? Because I'm hearing apparently you dated for 3
No,
months.
no.
I don't know.
No, we never dated.
No,
but,
we
like,
never did.
Okay, this is becoming suddenly super awkward.
Is this
Why is it awkward?
No, we never
Um,
dated, but...
Okay, so let me cut the awkwardness by making it even more awkward.
Great.
I'm not
Great.
gonna lie.
Love
I did
it.
have a crush on Alessia the first time I met her.
So is that the reason why you took over the lease to be on the podcast to confess your love
This
for
is
Alessia?
my master plan.
This is
my
the
master
plan. Alessia, how do you feel?
I'm dead.
But
You
you
guys
had
are
a
catching
crush.
on.
You had a crush. What happened? 'Cause I don't know this
I
story.
don't know if we ever kissed. Did we?
Ah,
I actually don't remember.
He's pulling
I'm
out
not
the
sure.
picture he has of you guys kissing.
honestly, I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I remember a few times we were super
Could
drunk
have been
in
December
Florida.
1st, 2017, but not sure.
No, literally. Oh, we were in Florida together. Anyways, I haven't seen Pascal in maybe 5 years, and then Veronica invites me on a boat, and I'm like, wait, hold on, Pascal, you're alive? Like,
Well, it's because
I
the
know
last
that
5
is.
years I was writing up my master plan for this exact
no,
moment.
I'm dead.
He foreshadowed everything that we were gonna make a podcast, that I was
Exactly.
gonna live here, that it was gonna be available to
Oh
move in.
my God.
He's been planning. He's been downstairs.
Honestly,
Yeah.
guys, I'm
Basically
getting a
planning.
little scared.
I've been in my little cave, writing up master plans like in that movie. What's that movie where he's in his garage like connecting all kinds of dots?
Oh my God, okay,
You
guys.
mean like every Da Vinci Code movie?
Wait till you guys see what I've prepared for later.
Well, I didn't bring my gun. Like,
No,
I don't
no.
know. Do you have a gun? I don't have a gun.
Uh,
If the police are watching again, I don't know. But me and
really, it's so fucking easy.
It's because I have
Pasqualino.
trouble, as our podcast watchers would know, which is not including my mom, but a few other people. I can't speak when I'm on the podcast. I stutter.
She
I have a stutter.
literally is a...
It's the remix. DJ Khaled. Boom. But actually, what was I gonna say? Oh, how we know each other? I don't really know how we know each other,
Well-
but he's my boyfriend.
Well, in all honesty, yeah, that's how we
Yeah.
initially met. But I mean,
That's
I
why he's
always
here
knew
right
you as the somewhere bar girl, bartender girl. But
I'm a waitress.
Oh my God.
The fucking don't
How
put
do
that disrespect on my name.
well, it's not my
Get my
point of view.
fucking
That's your
career right.
your boyfriend has a different point of view. That's Veronica Rossi, the girl I want to get with, right?
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
my point.
But
of
to everybody else, guys, she's
Yeah, apparently
the
I'm
girl-
fucking scrap. You're the butt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere
No,
burger.
but
Yeah, I
why
know
do you
her.
have-
Yeah, she works behind the bar. That girl.
Why do you have
girl.
such a
Sorry,
bad
Pascal.
perspective on that?
Well,
I'm joking.
Pascal, the way you said it.
It's an ongoing joke that when people call me a bartender, I say I'm a waitress. Get it right.
It's true.
Anyways.
Anyway, we know each other through my boyfriend, and now we know each other because he's taking over my lease.
Well, and also
There you go.
because...
Apparently, your ex-wife and ex-husband.
Well, we did have, we do have a kid, right?
One? I thought it was two.
I thought it was 2 and 1 was Joey and what was the address? We're adding all names together, guys.
Can you throw in a Veronica in there somewhere? Maybe a Stella. If you can't fit in the Veronica.
No, Stella is too...
But yeah, we do go way back. I mean, what was that 6 years ago?
Yeah,
Um,
like I would say
I
5,
don't-
6 years.
I don't
We were
even
even in
remember how
like
we met.
Miami together with
Yeah, a
like...
few times.
Yeah.
Few times. We had fun.
Hilarious. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
We went out clubbing. I think we weren't even close to being 21 yet.
No. Well, I
Well,
think
if the cops are listening
well,
again.
I think you were 21.
They were
but I
21,
wasn't.
don't worry.
Well, I know we were hanging out with a few people that were
they
older than us.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I was the baby. Always them. Aww.
And then we just drifted away.
And now we're here,
and now
ready
we're
to
here.
reconnect.
And Pascal's taking
Let's all
over my
hold
favorite
hands.
home.
Let's take a nice deep breath. Let's say
I don't think
grace.
that's
It's not
COVID
COVID
friendly,
of
ladies.
us to be holding hands.
Well, you're about to make out with me before, so.
I was about to
But-
reach out, then I'm like, COVID, you know?
And I was
Bitch,
like,
I
it's
don't
so
have COVID.
sweet of Pascal to bring us all Starbucks. I was like, oh my god, that's so nice of him. What did he say to you? He's like,
He walked in with a plate full of Starbucks, the thing full of Starbucks, and he's like, well, I was coming on the most white girl podcast. I had to bring the most white girl thing, Starbucks. I went, pissed, but I'll take
thank
the Starbucks.
you. And it was also really good because I don't really like Starbucks. I'm one of those, I never know what to order. And
Really?
it was actually amazing what you ordered.
I'm really guilty. I actually fucking love Starbucks, and I'm not afraid
So
to
he's the
admit
white
it.
girl.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I
get to
embrace it
Starbucks and I
inside me.
stutter.
I'm
I
a white
say-
girl sometimes.
And then I say iced coffee and they go frappe and I'm like,
They say, do you want sugar? I'm like, bitch, honestly, I'm going to Tim's.
No.
Like, I can't deal. It's literally, first of all, they have 3 things on the menu, but a million different drinks you
Yeah,
could
I
order.
know.
Have you ever seen a Starbucks menu? I see people going in with their order 10 miles long, and I go in and I just see coffee, frappuccino, and I say, where do they get
And then
this
they go
stuff?
vanilla.
Like,
But wait, there's people that are even more intense, and they're like, "Did you know about the Starbucks hidden menu?
Yeah.
you can add this, and that."
Are
you
No,
have to
yo,
ask
I just
for
want
a
coffee.
venti frappuccino with an extra shot of matcha, and then you
Yeah,
say milk on
like-
the side, and then you put, and I'm like,
Listen, I'm going to take
I say
for
cold
real.
coffee, I say put a bit of vanilla, I drink, I say this is fucking disgusting.
No,
and that's it.
And that's why we don't like Starbucks because we don't know how to
But
react.
as much as I love Starbucks, I literally just go to the menu. I look at the newbie of the month, you know, and the newbie of the month was café infusé froid à la sucre au vanille.
Mate, don't talk dirty
I've
to
been-
me. Café à la
No, no.
à la sucré. Ooh, Pascal. I
Yeah.
can't talk, but you're rapping
I know.
here.
As soon as I saw it, it turned me on too. That's why I had to get 4
Shit.
for all of us. Yeah,
Did you like take
So I
a
guess
sip
we're
of
all
all of
turned
them?
on.
Or?
that's not
Is that
COVID friendly.
COVID-friendly?
You know?
But pretty much, I also hate when I go to Starbucks and I'm like, yeah, can I have a medium? They're like, you mean grande? And I'm like, shut the fuck up and type in medium.
Yeah.
Like, you mean venti? I don't know, whatever.
Well, we could talk about Starbucks for an
Yeah,
hour.
what am I going to call this? Starbucks and Pascal? Pascal Joey?
Starbucks, Pasqualino, and his lover Starbucks.
Should I say I have 2 guests? I have Pascal and Joey, or it's 1 guest?
No, I'm one
no, I'm
person.
down.
Yeah.
1? Okay.
Yeah.
So no split personality. Okay, Great. Cool.
No, I haven't been diagnosed with that yet. I have
Not
been
yet.
diagnosed with a few mental issues, but no, not that one yet.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, we
Speaking
can
of
compare
mental
lists.
issues.
We could compare lists later.
Yeah, well, that's probably something that's gonna come up in conversation later.
Well,
right?
yeah, I mean, let's just introduce. So we actually brought Pascal on the show not because he's an amazing barber and crazy good looking. You're like, I was like,
Whoa, whoa,
No, I'm
whoa,
joking.
whoa!
I'm
Your
saying-
boyfriend's in the room,
I'm
bro.
saying,
She's
I'm
joking.
saying, not because you're a star, but because
You're
we
a
wanted to
stud.
talk. We wanted to talk about. I feel like in every episode you always go, "Yo, your boyfriend's in the room." Like,
That was my turn to
I'm
do
not
that.
saying anything bad, I swear. Let me say the joke. Jeez. Anyway, but because we wanted to talk about drug addiction, your journey, recovery, and all those
Yeah.
fun things.
Fun things.
Well, fuck, it was fun. I mean, there was moments that it was super depressing, but I mean, it was fucking
mean, it's
fun.
a
Pascal, we're
journey.
doing this podcast to help people, not to let them know that they should go party and sniff a line.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's why I'm here, because as much as I'd love to say that I fucking love drugs, which I do, I love drugs, and that's why I'm an addict, you know?
I mean, makes sense, but I guess kind of introduce how
How this came about.
I mean,
how
like-
did you start?
like your not your problem, but I mean like maybe your
I have a lot of fucking problems.
what's
It will
the-
be
what's-
here. How long is this podcast?
No, but I mean like what does it mean, like your problem drug, I guess, like your problem substance or
My
like
substance of choice.
your substance
Yeah.
of choice.
How did it start? How did this all start?
How did you get introduced to drugs? Like, you know
You
how your
see-
parents
Straight
say
up.
no and you said yes.
I
So
would
how
have
did
to
that
say at 12 years old when I smoked my first joint. And
Doozle.
shortly after, I became a pothead. Yeah. I mean, I
long
was
did
like,
that
what,
last?
16, 17 years old when I was smoking every single day.
Okay.
But my substance of choice ended up turning out to be cocaine, which is super fun, but ruins lives.
Yeah. Do you feel
Crazy.
like, and I know this is like really controversial, but do you feel like weed can sometimes be a
Is a gateway?
Like, what do you, like, coming from the perspective of you saying, oh, you're a pothead, and then you ended up getting into cocaine?
It is controversial because to a certain extent it could be a gateway, but fuck, alcohol could be a gateway as well.
Yeah.
Eating too many goddamn Big Macs is a gateway, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything that you abuse can be a gateway.
Yeah.
It really depends on your personality and who you are.
No, I agree. Like, that's definitely my point of view. I think anything could be a gateway. I just want to see maybe you had a different idea of it.
Okay, so at 16 you stopped doing you stopped pot and all that?
No. It was around 16 when I became an avid pot smoker.
Okay. And then, like, when did you start doing, like, hard drugs, you would say?
Honestly, a little later in my life compared to most users.
Yeah.
I think the first real drug I ever did was cocaine, hard drug. And that was probably 22.
Okay.
Yeah, just about 4 years ago.
Wow.
And fuck, those 4 years flew by, yo. That's nuts. That's nuts. It's almost as if I was not present for 2 of those 4 years. And, yeah.
I know
Crazy.
a lot of people usually feel like that. Like, it's like they like feel like, oh my God, like I don't even remember any of that or like stuff like that. You know, it's almost like a dream. Like
it is
because it's so much like, especially when you're always under the influence. Or like I don't know what your vibe was, but like when people are high all the time or whatever, it's like almost like you're not realizing what's going on.
Well, you see, the funny thing is when you're high all the time the passes by really quickly, right? When you're having fun, time just goes by really quickly.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about our bodies, they tend to forget pain a lot, right? So when you go through a lot of pain, you kind of put that in the back burner, you forget about it. So all that time where half of it's having fun and the other half of it's kind of recovering from all that fun and you're in pain mentally and physically, you kind of forget that. And that's why I have to say I wasn't present for those 2 years.
Yeah. I totally see where that would come in. Can you tell us a bit about like maybe your journey? Like, like you tried it right away. Like, I mean,
were you addicted right away?
Yeah.
Like, who were you with when you first tried it? You're like, okay, can I keep something?
But you know, I feel like some people say like, oh my God, the moment I tried it, I said, this is like, you know what I mean? You couldn't stop thinking about it. But then other people, it takes.
With every drug you do, especially if you're a person like me, there's a honeymoon phase where this is the best thing. I think I could do this and it would be sustainable for all my life, you know? And like, that's the first line I did. I was like, wow, imagine going to work high as fuck, cutting hair on cocaine. This is sustainable until eventually this drug becomes your life and it takes over your life.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, first time I did cocaine, I was like, yeah, this is the shit. This is the shit. Until shortly a few months later, I realized I was buying it for myself when I was always going to parties and it was just always there and I would do it there, you know? Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I mean, I started when I was about 22 years old. First time I did it, I was with my cousin Patrick, who is 2 years sober now.
Oh, wow, nice.
We had the exact same sobriety date at one point, and he had a year. I had just started becoming sober, but we'll get into that later. He's 2 years sober now, and he does realize what he did with me, it was wrong, and we did use a lot together. But yeah,
I think when you're in like, I feel like people go like, you don't realize what's wrong, or like even sometimes like, you know, you try something or you make somebody try something for the first time, like, and you look back later, you're like, oh my God, I feel guilty because I kind of helped them try something for the first time. But I think it's just like in the midst of everything, like you don't actually realize that you might be doing something wrong. You don't know how far it'll go.
Exactly, but it's like that for honestly everybody. You know, I feel like when it comes to drugs and alcohol or anything that you do that is not the best, is you'll obviously try to degrade others with you to make yourself feel less bad. Mm-hmm. So like, I'll give you an example. You're going to a party and you decide to be the only one not drinking. People are going to make you feel bad that, bro, you're such a loser, or girl, why the fuck aren't you drinking? You know, like, you're boring, you're this, you're that. But in reality, it's to make themselves feel comfortable about what they're doing to themselves, right?
Absolutely. Oh my God, I feel like, so I'm actually somebody who's never done drugs or anything.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah, no, never.
Really?
But I also
You're missing out. No, I'm kidding.
No, when I go to when I went to a lot of parties and like growing up, like I was never like around, like I was never around cocaine or anything. So for me, it was like, I guess easy to never become an addict because the people I would hang around with in my neighborhood, like it wasn't really a thing.
It was kind of frowned upon.
It was kind of frowned upon, and I was also just like very scared of it, if that makes any sense. Yeah. And then, like, as I grew up and I started getting older and, like, the cliques I started hanging around with, I started to see it a lot at parties. But I don't know why. Like, I was just never somebody who tried it. I was always scared that, like, I might have an addictive personality and I might. Do you? I don't know.
I don't find you.
I don't, but I was so scared that I just never did. And, like, I also do feel like at parties, I would, like, a lot of people were doing it and it was like, well, just try it or whatever. Yeah. And I was like, no, like, I don't want to. And I almost feel like I was, like, not, like, cool because I never wanted to do it. But, like, looking at it now, I'm like, oh my God, like, thank God, you know?
Yeah.
I almost, like, passed that stage of, like, having to try and be cool.
Yeah.
Hey,
Like,
listen, we all have our thing. Me, it's drugs. You, it's what? Chanel purses?
Off Kijiji.
Off
If you watched our last episode.
Listen, I'd rather have a fucking Chanel addiction than drug addiction. Sorry, Pascal, no offense.
No offense taken.
But I think like
my addiction's way much more fun.
I think it's pretty crazy how like there's, especially with, I find alcohol is the biggest one because it's so socially acceptable. Like you'll go to a party, like I think it's a bit less like, okay, you're not snorting a line of cocaine, nobody's gonna judge you. But when you're not
1980s.
drinking, people are like, what the fuck? Like, you're so boring. And it's like, it's so crazy how it's so accepted, like socially accepted.
Yeah.
And alcohol is actually one of the worst drugs for you. Like,
I agree.
physically, mentally, it's super addictive. Like, but it's so like socially accepted and it's legal and everything that like people will literally be like, wow, you're such a loser, you don't drink. And I'm like, that's
But
crazy.
I also feel like a lot of people start taking cocaine once they're drinking, and then it's like, to continue it on, it's like,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is that what happened with you? Like, like you were drinking, and then it would like...
Well, I mean, honestly, I've come to realize I've never really had a problem with alcohol. I mean, as much as I love getting shit-faced with my friends, who the fuck didn't, you know? It was something we did as of a young age. I mean, you guys remember A-sides upstairs, B-sides?
Besides, yeah.
Right? I was 15, 16 going to clubs for the first time.
The cops are listening. Again.
Hey, listen, I went to La Folie. Remember those days? Slip a 20 under your ID, 16 years old. That place is closed down now. But I'm just trying to say. I wonder why, right? Oh, they actually built condos.
Literally, those bouncers were making some good money, fuck.
No, they were. They definitely were. But no, what I'm trying to say is being surrounded by that at a young age and going through years and years and years of just going to parties Wednesday through Sunday. I was always able to control my drinking in a way that, okay, tonight I don't feel like getting shit-faced. Or I would even pitch in for bottles and not even drink. It's mostly always for the girls, but, you know, right? But, yeah, so I never really had a problem. So, no, to answer your question, it's not that alcohol led me to wanting to do cocaine. It's just I'm a stimulant kind of guy. I love to get high. I don't like to get fucked down. I like to get fucked up, right?
Oh, I don't like to get fucked down.
I'm sorry, I have to steal that from your boyfriend.
But can you kind of explain, like, maybe, like, the rest, like, maybe the time, like, where you realize, okay, like, this is an issue.
When
like,
were you like, wow, like...
I can't stop, kind of thing?
Yeah, so the journey. I mean, there was a point in my time where I was just using so much. I was always just trying to catch up, you know, lying to friends, lying to family, most importantly, lying to my mother, my loving stepfather, you know, my grandmother, the people that were always there for me throughout my whole life, lying to them, stealing money, asking money from friends, just getting myself in a really shitty situation all around. And still then I didn't realize it. No, I would still be at New City Gas, 5 à 7, you know, like probably didn't sleep the night before, went straight to work and then go straight to New City Gas. I would always put myself in those predicaments. But what it really took for me to realize that a problem was doing a psychoactive substance.
Like hallucinogenic?
Yeah, I don't know, have you ever heard of DMT?
Yeah.
So in the month of October, I did DMT, and I don't know, is this something we can talk about here?
Yeah, of course.
Cool.
Could say anything.
I did DMT.
The cops are gonna come search Veronica's house.
Well, the cops are shutting down
Well, don't worry,
besides. They
I
already
don't
shut
carry
down La
drugs
Folie,
anymore
but...
on my person, so don't worry. So I did DMT, and it was a mind-altering, life-changing moment for me where I was talking to this older man, which actually right after my trip I called your boyfriend Dave, and he made me realize this older man I was talking to was myself in another lifetime. And he was just radiating happiness. He was just expressing, I wasn't able to tell exactly what he was saying, but I just felt happiness. And then at the end he told me, continue on this path that you're going through and things will get better. And along that time frame, I was starting to talk to a drug addiction counselor. And it's because my mom forced me. I was still in denial of my problem, but my mom forced me to do that.
Did she find out? Like, how did she find out that?
Oh, those are fucked up stories, yo. I feel bad. Honestly, I definitely feel bad for what I put my mom through.
For
She's
sure.
seen me high many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've showed up to family occasions high.
But did she catch you or you told her?
There was one time that she didn't know yet, and I told her. But it was from that moment on that she started getting a little closer in my personal space to try to find out what's actually going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I was saying, in the month of October, DMT, crazy fun experience. I don't recommend anyone to do it because it's not for the faint-hearted or the weak
Yeah.
mind. And
I've heard it's
honestly, I
really
would have
crazy.
never done that had it been for my mental state that I was in those years. I definitely don't recommend to do any drugs, to be honest. I mean, they're super
Contrary
fun.
to what you said in the beginning of the episode.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't
Rock on!
recommend.
They're fun,
Oh,
guys!
the funnest years of my life. But
Oh
don't
my
remember
god,
them
I
and
went,
also
sorry
drink.
guys, I'm gonna go and get addicted because I'm not fun.
Right? No, but I'm trying to like bring a little more light to such a sensitive topic.
Right.
Well, I think that's what we really try to do here is like just kind of like bring humor to like deep topics and like
Right.
because I think everybody goes through all these things. Like we talk a lot about like breakups or last time our interview with Kayla Branco, like the stigma and the LGBTQ
Could I
community.
just say something about that interview?
Sure.
That was my first podcast that I watched from you guys. And holy shit, yo, props to Kayla. Shout out to Kayla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That chick is awesome. I fucking love her vibe. I was
Yeah,
never so
same.
close with her, but like I've known her because we were always kind of like in the scene together to a certain extent. And every
Yeah.
time I'd see her, like she'd be expressing so many good vibes. I love
Yeah.
that girl.
She's
awesome.
honestly so
Honestly,
cool.
I want to have her back on the podcast.
Yeah.
She's such
Yeah,
good
you
vibes.
should. Honestly, she's really good.
Yeah.
But like
really
she's
good.
like the essence and even what we're trying to do here, just like make it kind of relatable. I feel like
Yeah.
no matter what you've been through in life, everybody can relate to a certain
Yeah.
extent. Whether it's with
Absolutely.
a family member or a friend or yourself, or it's
Yeah.
like and things are like so heavy all the time. People are always scared to talk about them. Like you always feel like you're walking on eggshells, like, oh, so you're an addict. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, but I feel like it should be a lot more like
Light, the
light.
situation.
Like it's like that's what we try
And
to
there
do.
should
That's
be,
why we
like,
throw in jokes
yeah.
and like there's a lot of things that we talk
But
about.
to go back on, there is a stigma.
Yeah.
On both mental health issues and drug addiction, of course. Like I'm not gonna lie, when I go to people's houses and everyone's having a drink and they're like, "And what are you gonna have?" "Oh, I'm okay with water." They either look, excuse me, but they either look at me like I got like a problem, like I'm retarded, or oh, are you a recovering alcoholic? And then they change their tone of voice as if like
And they're almost like hiding the alcohol. They're
Yeah.
trying to drink not to make
yo,
you feel...
I'm okay,
Yeah.
don't worry, I'm fine, you know.
Yeah, I think that was
Yeah.
actually one of my questions. Is like, well, I know that was one of my questions.
Mm.
Is I think a lot of times there's like this huge stigma around addiction, and people don't really realize that it is a mental illness, and it's not
It
something
is.
like if you would tell somebody, okay, I have depression, they'll be like, okay, they understand it's a mental illness. Like we've kind of come to that point in 2020.
Right.
But you say I have an addiction, it's like people almost look at you like, oh, you have no control, or you have no this, or like they almost like look down upon you,
Yeah.
and I think they should be seen on the same level. Like addiction really is a mental illness. Like it's
Yeah.
not. People don't choose to be depressed. People don't choose to be
And
addicted
I'm
to
sorry,
things.
like like at the end of the day, it's something you battle every single day. Like it gets easier, no,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it's still like
for sure.
you still like. Did you like change your friend group and everything? Like when this all happened, like
So,
how was it for you?
I want to backtrack
Yeah.
a bit to where you said you weren't really exposed to that lifestyle when you were younger, and neither was I. To a certain extent, I actually promised myself that I would never do that because I do have a father who's still an active drug addict, and I made my promise to myself, my mom, that I would never do drugs, and lo and behold, that's what happened. But my friend group actually, the fucking asshole person that I am, I introduced them all to drugs, and some of them did it, some of them didn't, but I was that guy. So no, I was not exposed to it younger. What was the initial question?
if like when you like recovered after, like if you had to kind of change your
Change my friend
or
group.
even while you're using, I'm sure
So-
like you went more out with friends that did
Law of
drugs.
attraction, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So what ends up happening is your circle starts shifting, and yes, you start making new friends. But I am grateful for everyone I met. They made me all who the person I am. And
For sure.
there's not one day I regret being friends with anyone I met along my journey because they're all fucking great people, and we're all going through this fucked up life in our own movie in our own head, right?
Yeah, we're all
So, yeah.
But can you? So I just want to say, so when you realized you had a point, you ended up going to rehab, or you got sober by yourself? How did
that
what's
work?
the decision you made, or what was the process? What was your decision?
So yeah, what happened was, so like I'm gonna always refer back to that month of October, 2018. Yeah,
3 years ago? Yeah.
the month of October 2018 is when I decided to start making a change. I did go to Rotterdam for school, for barbering school.
No way.
And it was exactly when I was getting on the plane that I spoke to my drug addiction counselor for the first time. And I told him I'm ready to make a change as soon as I get back. So that was the thing. I decided to make the change as soon as I get back.
Right.
I went to fucking Amsterdam alone, right? I did my school, I graduated, then that weekend was straight up partying. All the drugs you can name. Yeah, so that was
Be
fun.
careful with the tapping.
What?
It's hitting the microphone each time.
Okay, I'll lightly tap. So yeah, as soon as I got back, I met up with my drug addiction counselor and life coach, Jonathan Sbrolini. This guy, fucking love him to death. Awesome guy. Helped me throughout wherever, helped me get through where I'm at today. Made me realize that he said, listen, this is what we're going to try to do. And if this doesn't work, rehab is always a possibility, a probability. Still in denial, saying like, yo, I could do this on my own with you. I don't need to go to rehab. Lo and behold, 8 months later, I found myself in a rehab, yeah. But there was a period in that 8 months where I grew exponentially. And going back to being a drug addict, I am grateful for the person that I became through drugs.
Yeah.
I would never
Every
be
experience
Exactly.
leads you to
Where
something.
you need to be.
Yeah.
You know, you build character. And I think also going to rehab, like, I think just speaking on that a little bit, I think a lot of people feel so like they have such a big ego, like I could do this by myself. I
Yeah.
don't need
Yeah.
anybody. I don't need to go to
Absolutely.
rehab. I don't need help. But I think actually like it shows so much character to say like, okay, I could use help from
Yeah,
somebody
exactly.
else. Like
It's
that,
letting your guards down.
Yeah, that's like a huge step for anyone. Like
Yeah, it's
Could
very
you-
humiliating.
Yeah. Could you talk a little bit about your experience in rehab? Like, because, like, I want to know, like, how is that? Like,
How is rehab? Okay.
how is rehab? Like, is it like what we see in the movies
Shit.
when everyone's sitting in a circle and they go...
Alessia, you're not ready for this. That's a meeting. That's a meeting. You're not ready for this. Rehab is fucked up. I unfortunately didn't have a chance to go to one of those luxurious rehabs. There are a few good ones in Montreal, like Andy's House. Portage is a good one as well. I went to one in Montreal North, right next door where I grew up. So that was with my whole family. Like literally all my family lives on Going.
is that a bit like you're on the fence and you're saying, "Hi, ma."
No.
No, not
You guys are
even.
touching- that's
not
what I do
even.
in COVID now with the fucking windows. Hi.
Not
You know what I
even, yo.
mean?
So like the thing is, we would go on these afternoon walks, and I would be wearing this fucking hoodie because I don't want my extended family to see like, why is this kid walking
Do you guys
around
have
with
those
these
leashes like the
people.
No.
You know, like the daycare. They
Yeah,
all walk
no.
with the
Kids.
leashes.
Honestly, they should have done that. There was a few characters in rehab. There was.
For sure.
For sure.
How was rehab? It was honestly, still to this day I honeymoon over that because those were the easiest days. To a certain extent, I feel like everyone should do the work that I did there. It's very much digging deep.
Yeah.
But how's rehab? It's fun. You wake up in the morning. You have Jeanette, talking to the walls. Who's trying to snort the coffee bean?
Oh my god.
It's probably you.
They limit you to one coffee, so you're trying to get the most out of it, right?
Literally.
Yeah.
They're going, this one for an actual coffee, this one
Yeah.
to sniff.
Exactly, right? Who's getting high on sugar,
Oh my
So how's
God.
rehab? Honestly, it was a very good experience.
I think
Well, you're not selling it.
between
Sipping the grains.
between
and-
talking to my mom through the fence
No,
and
no.
Right.
who was
But
drinking
did
the
you, would
fucking
you say you
mouthwash.
learned? Would you say you learned a lot from rehab?
Crazy experience, yeah.
Like if you can take like 3 things that you learned and used in your everyday
Well,
life now.
I don't know about 3 things, but I could definitely tell you what I did learn. I definitely learned that trauma as a child is something that we carry on our backs our whole lives. And it doesn't matter how you deal with your problems, they affect your decisions on a day-to-day basis. You always have to
Subconsciously.
bring yourself back as that kid and use that perspective in your day-to-day decisions. I myself, listen, I didn't grow up with the easiest past. I'm not trying to get some fucking sorry sentiment from you girls, or anyone watching this. There are people that went through worse things, probably like a few. But I went through my hardships as a child. I had a father that was an active drug user. He was never really in my life, and when he was probably high. I lost a lot of family members. I lost my uncle in a hunting accident when I was 12. I lost my grandfather right after I got a 12-hour operation. So I went through my own hardships, and I always use that as a feel sorry for me.
Right.
Like a reason to do what you're doing.
Exactly.
Kind of thing. An excuse almost.
Exactly.
Oh my God, what am I, the counselor?
Oh
Honestly,
my God,
That's an
Veronica,
excuse.
You're
He's like,
fucking impressing me. All the way from dropping your guards to going into rehab to drug addiction being a mental issue.
Well,
These are things that are not really spoken of, and not a lot of people know.
I actually have a really, a lot of knowledge on it because I went through a really big drug phase when I was younger. So when I was about 15. Yeah, I mean, not a lot of
He's
people.
like,
I don't want to talk about it really because it's your show, but I did go through maybe from the age of 15, 16 to I don't know. It was short. It was maybe 2-3 years. But my best friend actually got seriously addicted to drugs, and she went to rehab when we were in high school. She went to Portage.
Shit.
So
How did you feel about that?
So I think there was a lot of things that were crazy about it, especially when you're so close to somebody, you guys kind of do drugs together, and you see somebody not able to stop and they go to rehab, you're like, what the fuck? I wasn't able to see her until I got drug tested, so I had to stop doing drugs, I had to stop smoking weed, everything, just so I could see my best friend. So it was really crazy, and I learned a lot on addictions and stuff, and it was kind of scary.
At such a young age too, eh?
Yeah, we were really young. But I think it was really scary for me to see the effect that your decisions could have. So it's for example, we all tried hard drugs, you could say. We all popped MDs at the same time, me and my two friends. And then it's I was okay. I could do whatever I wanted. I was never addicted. I had the, you know what I mean? I didn't have that. But for her, she could not stop. And I saw her go down this path, and it was oh my God, I kind of feel guilty because it's almost we were doing it together. And then it's you know, her going off in a different place. It was really crazy. And it was really it was
eye-opening for you.
Yeah, it really stuck with me. So I really did learn a lot. That's why I think it's a cool perspective, because I really know a lot about this subject, and
I don't.
are so. But
a lot you must be learning so much.
But a lot of people that are watching don't know.
We're fucked up people, I know.
Yeah.
Don't have me in there, Pascal.
The most I ever know is, okay, this is a little bit off topic, but so when I was super young, my brother was always clean my room, I'll pay you $60. Guys, when I was 14 years old and he was saying $60 to clean your room,
I would still take $60
I was going
now.
$60 is a coffee now at Starbucks. So thanks, Pascal. But anyways, I was 14. I was 14 years old, and he was racking in so much money. We were hey, where's this money coming from? My parents were a little confused and stuff. Because he was young too when I was 14. So anyways, he was always clean my room, I'll give you $60, whatever. And I was oh my God, okay, sign me up. I was literally taking the clothes, putting it in the hamper, and my mom was doing all the work. I was just dusting, whatever. I was doing the bare minimum. And I remember when he was okay, clean my room, right before leaving, because he was on his way out, he had went in his closet, and he just and I'm the biggest investigator in the world. He had just taken a sweater and just covered it over something, meaning she's gonna clean my room, but just don't go here. And I remember the corner of my eye being what the fuck, what did he put there? So the whole time I'm cleaning, I have anxiety because I'm what's there, you know? So anyways, and this was already at a time where my parents were a little concerned, what's his story, what is he doing, you know? So I was obviously me cleaning, get a little ladder because I'm too short. And I check, and all of a sudden I open the box. It was in a phone case. It was like a Rogers phone box. So no one would have really opened it. Even if my parents would have went through and my mom nobody would have really found it. So I go in it and I open it, and it's a bunch of blow. Literally, when I tell you so much blow, and I literally guys, being so young, I knew what it was, but I never seen it. I was never in the scene, so I literally was shaking. I just closed it, and I was shaking, and I was oh my God, do I tell my parents? Because obviously I love my brother. I don't want to rat on my brother, and then all of a sudden my parents are gonna freak.
But you also want to help.
But I also want to help. So being so young, I was like, what do I do? Like, I feel so weird in this situation. And then eventually I just like, I was young and I was just like, oh my God, like I got so scared. So I said, Mommy, like, look behind there. And then like, she looked freaked, called my dad, like, and then, like, my brother, like, literally got kicked out of the house. Okay, I'm gonna start crying here.
Oh my God, you kicked your brother
out of the house? He literally got kicked out of the house, and I feel like I look back and I'm like, wow, like, at the beginning, I was like, oh my God, why did I do that?
Yeah, but you kind of did
start crying. But, like, now, like, obviously, he doesn't do that anymore.
Don't cry, I'm gonna be there with the broom
So he was never an addict, but he was selling it. So, anyway, so, like, looking back now, like, he has his shit together and he doesn't do that anymore. But, like, I feel like at the beginning, I was like, why did I do that? Like, I just lost my brother and he moved out. But, like, that made him have to, like, grow on his own. He had to literally figure his shit out. And it was definitely the hardest thing for my parents to even kick him out.
I'd like to definitely say this is the second time I hear the story. I remember you telling me this story when I was dropping you off home one night.
Okay, Pascal. Like...
I'm not even kidding. But the reason why I'm saying that is because an event that like that was traumatizing.
So traumatizing.
So traumatizing that it's in your day-to-day mind.
So traumatizing, and I honestly feel like that's the root of why I never tried it, if that makes any sense.
No,
but you know what, though?
I saw my brother go through so much shit, and I was like...
when you're going, like, for example, like, you always think, like, oh my God, I'm so bad, I ratted, and this and that, but, like...
No.
You always... And at the time, everybody sees you as, like, guilty and, like, oh my God, you know, what a snitch, but... You actually help people in a way doing that. It's just when you're in doing those bad things,
when I'm there and I'm so like, young, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And it's even my mom, like, her 14-year-old daughter found it. Like, the investigator she is before my actual parents searched his freaking room. Like,
but
to this day, guys, I don't even know if my brother ever knew that it was me. So, if
you're
watching, well, the snitch is here.
The snitch is here. But
so yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's a traumatizing story.
Guys, I'm gonna just get out of here and start crying.
But that's exactly what I was trying to mention before. All this trauma that we have growing up, it shapes who we are today. And going back to being in rehab, that's what I learned. I learned a lot about myself. Like, I know all the shit that I went through, but I never had to deal with it face to face. I was in there for about a month.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm shaking the table.
Okay.
I was in there for about a month, and for 1 month, you have nothing to do other than work on yourself. No one's ever done that, and I can guarantee you, anyone you know, unless they went to rehab, has never taken that much time in a day for a month to work on themselves. So you get really deep, you know. You write letters on how you're sorry to everybody that you mistreated or you lied to. I went as far as doing my own work. For example, writing my own obituary. It's one of those speeches you give at someone's funeral.
Oh,
I know.
Eulogy.
Eulogy. I wrote my own eulogy. Eulogy. Yeah.
I only know that because it's in a song.
EUL. Yeah.
Always bringing it back to the music.
Right?
I'm not gonna start singing because it's a fun song.
Guys, tune it in.
Put it on.
I wish I could re-listen to the song.
So I wrote my own eulogy, and that I fucking challenge everyone watching this to write your own eulogy right now, and then in exactly a year from today, write another one. Because it makes you conscious of the person that you are.
That you're perceived as.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And that's tough. I had so much trouble writing that.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, a year later, I was able to write another one. I mean, I'm still a fucking asshole, but I'm nicer. I'm a nicer person.
On the boat the other day, so.
Really? Yeah. No, I changed as a person, and doing all these little exercises helped me get to where I'm at today. But yeah, writing that second eulogy just a few months ago and reading my past one, like that I wrote last year.
That's really deep.
It's fucking deep, yeah.
Do you feel like when you finally... So I think... I don't remember if I said this, but I thought it. I think, like, the easiest part about recovery is definitely rehab because, like, everything is, like, so structured and, like... but it's kind of going after, like
On the nail.
going back to life after, and like having to get used to all these things and applying them into real life when everything's moving so fast.
Right.
And you know, you come back, all your friends are the same. You know, you're different. So what was
How,
like?
yeah, how would
Yeah,
you
what
say
was the biggest?
Why am I even here? I feel like you should just be saying, like, you're stealing everything from my mind.
Sorry.
You're giving me
But
a hard time to come up with new shit
mean,
that I could mention. You're good.
What's the biggest challenge you kind of faced coming back to real life? Like, did you have to change your friends? Did you feel guilty? You know, like you said, you stole from your family and stuff like that. Like, kind of what's the biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge is do you keep living under a rock or do you live life? I've chosen to fucking live life.
Is that with the or without it?
No. Well,
Trying to keep it light here, guys. Holy, I'm crying all the time.
you sure you haven't done it? Like, you seem like you know how to do the...
You got
you
the...
do it pretty
I have
well.
a lot of friends who do it and stuff, but no, never.
She watched.
She watched.
I watched.
You took
Traumatized
notes.
on the side, but...
Literally. No, I honestly, I decided to, for a little short period of time, coming out of rehab, you're in this such, how do I put it into words? You're in such a state of mind where you're sensitive and you're open. So I opened myself up to good things in my life. I did keep my similar friend group because they've been around my life for 20 years. I'm not gonna change that. I definitely did drift away from certain people that weren't the best of influences on me.
Yeah.
But I did bring in other things that were closer to me that were good for me. I continued seeing my life coach. I brought in spiritual guru, so I got really heavy into spirituality. I continued reading like I did in rehab. So I developed all these good habits and these building blocks in my life that I definitely was able to get back into society as a normal person. But yeah, in rehabs, there are longer periods that you can choose to stay, like 3 months, 6 months. And they do have an integration period where for like another 6 months afterwards, you're living in a halfway house kind of thing. I didn't feel like I had to do that. Only because I live with my mom, and that was kind of a halfway house on its own. But I do live on my own now, and that definitely got me to be a better person as well.
Yeah, and get your shit together.
Yeah, you really learn how to take care. I feel like living on your own, you really have to like learn how to take care of yourself because nobody's gonna do anything
That's
for you.
it.
You know what I mean? It kind of forces you to be like, oh my god, I'm not gonna eat if I don't fucking make myself
If I don't
food.
fucking cook, and those Dr. Edgar pizzas are only gonna give you so much nutrition, right?
But you know what? I think it also helps in terms like when you're dealing with so many things, like kind of taking care of yourself and knowing that you have to do it is like something to focus your energy on as well.
Definitely.
So.
And I lived with my mom all my life, and my mom, fucking best mom in the world. I love her to death.
Mom tattoo.
Yeah, I got one of those.
Show it to the camera.
Yeah, I'm getting another one here with the nonna.
Aww.
She's my second mom. But yeah, she did everything for me. I would leave my room a mess. I'd come home from whatever it was I did, and she'd clean it up. I'd come home, there's always supper on the table. My clothes are always clean. So as much as she did that out of love, it also made me a dependent person.
Yeah.
So that moving out that I did about a year and a half ago really changed me to be more self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Be a fucking 26-year-old, you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
come on. How many people could say that at 26 years old? I know people that moved out at 18 and were doing that shit, you know?
You're Italian.
It's because we're Italian. We're
Actually,
fucking
no.
privileged.
Funny story. The other day, we were talking about, you know, being Italian, dating Italians, wops,
I said,
whatever.
yeah, like I could never date an Italian because they're mama's boys. And then I was like, Alessia, like you can't just classify every Italian guy as a mama's boy. And then Veronica's actually dating an Italian.
Yeah, so my boyfriend says, well, I'm not a wop. And I said, babe, who does your laundry? And then
He's
he
a
said,
fucking mama's boy.
he said, no, he didn't even answer, he just said,
I
and
do
I went
it,
there.
so
There
you're a
you
mama's
go.
boy.
There you go.
Oh my God.
You're a wop. That's all.
Dave is a mama's boy, definitely. Yeah.
But I mean, moms are the best, yo. Moms, without moms, like...
Honestly, yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that she had a big impact, like, on your recovery and everything.
Sure.
Like,
Definitely.
especially, like you were saying with your father. Like, I'm sure she's kind of been through that
She stepped
before.
in.
She
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of that love that she gave me, as much as it was a mother's love and it's necessary, it's also toxic. It's overbearing and puts a lot of pressure on people. As a child growing up, I had a lot of pressure. You got to finish school, you got to do this, you got to do that, right? So that love, that overbearing toxic love, is not good for a lot of people. And for me personally, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
It made me always want to look for an escape.
Yeah, like you feel suffocated, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So at a young age, that's what I mean. Going to A sides, B sides, always wanting to be with your friends.
Yeah.
And your mom always constantly worried about you, but she had her fucking reasons.
Yeah.
Right.
Her ex-husband was a drug addict.
Yeah.
Her sister-in-law, which is my cousin's mom, had to deal with the exact same thing. So my uncle is another drug addict. Still active today. Him and my dad are like Batman and Robin. They're still like on the road, you know, like type of thing.
Should we be laughing?
I know.
No, it's a funny
know,
story.
no.
To a certain extent, I'm sorry. Like, I love them because they're my fathers and my uncles, but it's a joke. It's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
The way they treated my life is the way I'm going to treat theirs. It's a fucking joke. And I forgave them. So
I think that's like super important though.
Yeah.
Like, forgiveness.
I think even
It's
forgiving
understanding.
yourself. I think even forgiving yourself,
because sometimes
especially
you feel like it's like because of you or whatever.
Yeah.
Or even like going through your addiction, the things that you're saying you did so many people wrong, like you can't move on unless you forgive yourself for those things.
No,
Like,
exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
you bring that guilt on, you're never gonna get anywhere,
Never.
you know?
Yeah. Well, I do want to mention that my father, as much as I said those things, he is still my father. And
Absolutely.
he does have a different way of showing love. He loves me grandly. And he has his own fucking ways. It's not the typical way that, like, that's another thing.
I mean, there's no typical way.
There
There's
is
that's-
no.
But
like,
that's the thing.
you
Growing
could
up
say-
a lonely child, okay, and seeing all my friends around with their fathers, I thought there was a typical way. And that's what another thing that traumatized me, like me being I wish my daddy playing hockey with me. No, I mean, not all fucking kids grew up that way, right?
Yeah.
But like
my
it's
dad showed
crazy
me love in
how
a different
like
way.
you know, like you feel that lack with your dad, but then with your mom, you're like, oh my god, it's too much. Like it's so crazy how
It's
there's
like,
literally
It's
no
so
where's
right
tricky.
way.
Where's the like
Like no
the
matter
median?
what, I always think of that, like, oh my god, when I'm gonna be a parent one day, it's like you always think about there's literally no right way.
No,
Like
there isn't.
anything you show too much of it's not enough. Like
yeah.
it's really
so hard to like
yeah, I think it's just how you take it in life
No,
and
exactly.
grow from the things you
You
felt were
learned.
too much or not enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I'm fucking scared, but I want kids. I don't want them to turn out the way I did, but I kind of do at the same time, you know? Like,
I
it's
think you
tough.
turned out okay.
I think so too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
So wait, what would you say would be like maybe the biggest
Yeah.
lesson you've learned? Just to kind of like wrap everything up. Like
He's
what?
like, I just finished fucking talking about it for an hour.
No, but I mean like what, or even
Come
like
on,
if,
fuck.
if there's like some kind of advice you could give for somebody who's struggling with something.
struggling with the exact same thing. You
Honestly,
went through.
the main thing is, honestly, fucking be like Veronica. Be educated on this shit.
Okay.
No, honestly, it's a joke, but not really. We have to really remove that stigma of you're a drug addict. It's because you just like to party. No, it's because you are going through either trauma, mental health. You're self-diagnosing. You're medicating yourself with either past trauma or type of things.
I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, then you're doing the right thing by. I think a lot of
You're
people
doing the right thing by
by
watching
educating
us
yourself.
and
Exactly.
clicking like and
But
subscribe.
I think a lot of people are so intimidated when they don't know things. They're scared to ask questions.
Yes,
but you're
that's
actually
true.
like the smartest. I always say the smartest person in the room is the person,
the person
who
who
asks questions.
asks questions.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because if you don't
100%.
actually go out and say, I don't understand this, like that's why I love that she doesn't, in some subjects, you
Right.
know less and I know more, because it's like you're explaining to her where most
Yeah.
people that are listening have the same like level of knowledge about the situation. So it's like, that's what makes people more understanding is like actually
It's
asking
having the
questions
curiosity
that,
of a child.
Yeah, asking the questions that nobody wants to ask. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
And like I feel like a lot of people are like nervous to say like, oh, how's this? How's that? What's rehab like? What was your point? But like sometimes you just have to do it because you need to learn that way.
exactly. But yeah, to answer your question was
The biggest thing you
the
learned.
biggest thing
or
I-
the best advice you could give.
Could give somebody who's
well,
like,
there's advice I could give, yeah, sure, to people that are struggling with addiction. Let's talk about quarantine for a sec. How did you guys do during quarantine? Because then we're gonna get back to that question.
Like, what are you asking, relationship-wise?
Well, I'm talking mentally. Fuck
went
the
through a breakup.
finances. Fuck the relationships.
No,
I'm
but you
talking
know what I
you,
mean, like-
Alessia, Deandra, you,
I get-
Stella, Veronica. How the fuck did you guys do mentally?
Wanna go first?
Did you struggle at all, or?
I want to say I'm really lucky because I had my amazing boyfriend with me the whole time, and we honestly just kind of had a lot of fun.
I'm happy for you. That's great.
And
Yeah.
it was I actually had a good time, and like I'm always like my whole life I work always constantly 2 jobs, or you know, like I'm always going. Like
So
for
you took
me
a break.
to just to actually do nothing was
It's
like
so
really
true.
crazy.
I feel like it was the first time I've ever really
Yeah.
seen Veronica take a break. And for me, well, honestly, like during quarantine, I was still working. Like I was still doing Skype meetings, and I was always like, I had a routine, like Skype meetings twice a day. So I almost still had that routine of like work. So
Okay.
for me, it wasn't like I was doing nothing. I was waking up at whatever time, and I was like
and you
watching
live at
Netflix.
home with other people.
Yes,
guess
but I
it
was also living with my boyfriend at the same time, who
Yeah.
was like not working as much. So it was obviously there's like clash in everything, but I think that honestly, like quarantine taught me a lot. That like you can't just like spend. Honestly, it taught me to save. Like save your fucking money. You don't know what the fuck tomorrow
that I learned
brings.
as well.
Like don't start buying Chanel bags and.
But
you know
I
what
think
mean?
like I always think about the people who live alone. Like my cousin lives alone, and like I
Yeah.
know it was really hard for him. I'm sure it was crazy for you to live alone. Like it's like I can't imagine. Like I feel so
Like-
lucky. I have a roommate. I have my boyfriend. Like always somebody even
Yeah,
just
exactly.
to talk to. You know.
So that's actually
Yeah.
one of the kind of the reasons why I'm excited to move here with one of my closest friends from childhood, Claudio. I'm looking forward to always having someone around, because if there's one thing I learned in quarantine, it's I love to isolate myself, and that's what a lot of addicts, we like to be alone, but also that brought me to a dark place mentally.
Yeah.
And I know it did for a lot of people. And listen, what I do for a living, yes, I cut hair, but I also talk a lot and I listen a lot. And the stories I've
You're a
been hearing.
therapist. At the end of the
I
day, when
was-
you're a
For
hairdresser,
sure.
Yeah.
you're actually a therapist.
Yeah.
So many people say like more importantly than being a good hairdresser is like being able to communicate
Exactly.
and have like communication skills.
Exactly. And just to go back to what people went through, I personally went through a rough patch for about 3 weeks to a month. Taking away my livelihood and not being able to do anything about it, you lose a sense of control. You lose a sense of control over your life, and it brought up past trauma. The same way how I lost a sense of control when I found out I had to get my second 12-hour operation and I let go everything out of your life. It brings up past trauma, and then those bring up bad thoughts, and then next thing you know, you're calling your dealer for an 80 bag of blow, right? But whatever. That's under the rug now.
Yeah, well, not talk about that one.
Whatever. I'm open
Have you
about my
ever
life.
like relapsed?
We'll get into that.
Okay.
Um,
It's gonna be a 3-hour podcast, guys.
how long are we in anyway?
An
An hour.
We're at an hour?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Not only when you're doing drugs.
Literally, I was just gonna say that.
Okay, so yeah,
God, you don't
I
know
just
how
want to
much
mention I know
Pascal?
someone that died on overdose during quarantine. I know someone that got into an accident and put their 3 kids at risk because they were drunk driving. I know people that are going to rehab right now. And these are all people that either they didn't have a problem or they were 10 years sober. So quarantine fucked us all up.
Well, actually, in our first episode, we were talking about how crazy quarantine is. It's a circumstance that no one
Has ever been through.
dealt with.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
like, no matter what, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to to have all that time. And we really actually spoke about that in our first episode. And I think it's really good that you're even bringing that up. Is
Yeah.
like, it's such crazy circumstances that, like, nobody knows how to deal with it. You know what I mean?
The first month we're all like, this is fucking sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, we're like,
I
we don't
could
have
do-
to work. Sign me up.
Right?
Like,
And then after it's like, okay,
yeah.
fucking bored, yo,
In life, you need, like, something to look forward to. You need to have activities.
Absolutely.
You need to have structure.
You need to feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
Most importantly, right?
And I'm sure as a recovering addict, it's so crazy to take all of that structure out of your life and have nothing.
I fucking love you.
Guys, Portage, if you're hiring,
No, literally.
Seriously, yo. Seriously. Then we're going to get back to the initial question, which was
the biggest lesson.
the biggest
or
lesson.
advice you could give.
All the people that are struggling right now, it's okay to reach out to others. I've had several people reach out to me recently and in the past, and reach out to someone if you need fucking help. Don't be in
Yeah.
denial. I just spoke to someone the other day, and he's like, I'm not sure if I have a fucking
Yeah.
alcohol problem. Yo, you just almost killed your family in a car.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with you?
I feel
You
like
know?
the first step in getting help is knowing that you have an issue.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, that and fucking always put yourself in an uncomfortable position to grow and learn and be better. That's
Don't
about
be
it for
comfortable.
what I.
And I think, as you were saying, like isolating yourself, like, and I think a lot of people like, and how you're excited to have a roommate, like it's so easy to be alone and get used to being
Yeah.
alone. You always want to be alone. You always want to
Fucking
be
awesome.
alone. But then to be forced to always be around people and to always like kind of like communicate and have that, like I think it's really important. And I think I learned a
Yeah.
lot living with roommates and stuff like that. Like, cause I'm a very like I'm huge extrovert when I'm out, like I'm super social. But when I'm alone, I love, like I'm very
Alone
like
time,
I don't want to
yeah.
hang out with people. I want to be alone. And then I started living with roommates, and it's like a whole different. Like you're actually never alone. You
You're
always
an
have somebody around.
antisocial social person.
But I'm not antisocial. It's just like once you start isolating yourself, you get so used to it. But when you get out of that, you're like, wow, I never want to go back to like being alone and like always staying alone and just doing nothing and being alone. Like it's a really like refreshing.
Well, I think it's like, I think it's good to have both.
Yeah.
You know? Like it's good to be alone and like
yeah.
you need both.
Yeah.
I think.
But I think
Yeah.
it's gonna be a fun experience to live with.
It will be.
Excited for you.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Well, have I relapsed?
Yes, I
Um,
was gonna.
That's a good question.
Be
I
smiling,
have
guys.
a few times when it comes to hard drugs like cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
Have I done other shit? Yeah, I have. But you see, I've been in such a different mind frame now that it's not my priority. I don't put myself down as much as I did in the past. Listen, I am done with cocaine, and I say that every time. I don't plan on using today. I'm okay. But I'm kind of going through changes right now as we speak about how I feel about my life. And, you know, just the other night I was having supper and I had a few glasses of wine with a chick. And you know what? I feel like those are the little things that I missed and that I love. And I didn't feel like I wanted to have more than those few glasses of wine. I started to realize I'm not, as I am a drug addict, a cocaine addict, but it's more so I'm an extremist. You know, like 6 months ago, I was hitting the gym every single day. I was like 170 pounds, ripped as shit. But I'm just an extremist. And everything I do, I gotta do it fucking crazy, right? So I'm having a different perspective on life. Do I feel like becoming an alcoholic? No. But do I want to enjoy a glass of wine every now and then? Yeah, I do.
I mean, recovery is like a different path for everyone. I don't think
Exactly.
like there's some people that say I cannot touch
Right.
anything ever again,
Yeah.
and there's also some people that be like, yeah, I could get drunk, I could have a beer here and there.
Exactly.
But you
You
also
know,
have
you
to
have
know
to
your limits
understand,
before
yeah.
you get to that stage.
But nobody
Exactly.
can tell you what
That's
you
the
can and
thing.
can't do. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, you need to
you
understand.
need to know. Yeah.
Exactly.
what you
Listen,
could
I
do.
do understand that it is a slippery slope for a lot of people. I have been there. But like I said, I never had a problem with alcohol. And I never had a problem with weed. But honestly, I can't smoke weed. I just get too fucking paranoid. But in reality, the reality is everyone does have a different road to recovery. And I am not fucking telling people that are 5 years sober to be like, hey, maybe you should try having a little scotch tonight.
Yeah.
No. What you're doing works for you. Do what works for you.
Exactly.
All right? I don't feel like I'm putting my life in jeopardy. And I don't feel like I'm putting anyone in harm's way. So I do me.
Well,
I don't give a
guess,
fuck what
you know,
anybody thinks about
You learn
it.
as you go, so like
That's
it's
about
a
it.
journey, you know, not a destination. So.
There you go.
Oh my God, what am I, a Pinterest
Oh my god!
journey,
You were
not a
actually
destination.
Pascal's therapist in rehab.
He's pretending like we met because of my
actually
boyfriend,
sign you
but
up.
I was
So-
sitting across from him in the meetings going.
So how much is rehab? I know there's different types of rehab. So is there a free one? Like how does that work?
So there's ways of going to rehab for free. Yes, it's going on unemployment, basically
Okay.
going on welfare.
Okay.
And the rehab that I went to would have been covered in full,
Okay.
or else for me it was about $600 something
Okay.
weekly.
Okay.
Weekly.
And how long did you stay there?
For 4
roughly?
weeks.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
And did you say I'm ready to get out, or did somebody say we think you're ready?
Well,
you
the
could
the
go?
program that I signed up for specifically was 4 weeks long.
Okay.
So like in that time that you're there, you see people come and go because they've finished their 4 weeks.
Right.
But there are other rehabs that I know in Montreal that are $50,000 for 6 months. I know of.
Even in LA, like I heard, like.
Well, LA is fucking full of drug addicts, yo.
Yeah.
But like.
Maybe a celebrity that isn't a drug addict or a pedophile.
They're like rehabs with like spas and everything. I went,
I want to go to rehab.
No, literally. It's like $60K a month just to be in rehab. Like it's
yeah. There's some that are like $60K a week.
Yeah.
You know, like for some people, that's the sad fucking part about rehab, that you meet people, they're like, is my like 5th time here, you know?
Yeah.
Because for some people, no matter how fucking sketch the place is or how beautiful it is, it's a fucking vacation. For whatever time you're there, there's no problems. Life is beautiful. Everyone treats you with respect. You don't have to cook, you know? So life is easy. And there are some fucking rehabs that are like a vacation. Yeah. So celebrity is going to be like, yo, get out of hand for 6 months and then whatever, I'll go chill for another 6, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So my boyfriend's actually been to rehab, and like he's like, I've asked him so many times like, how was it, and like things about it, and he was saying how like when you're in rehab, you actually don't really speak about your addiction. You literally just like focus on your tasks, and like you literally, like, he was reading a lot, so very similar to you in that sense. But what did he tell me that? Anyways, it'll come back to me, but I kind of lost my train of thought. But yeah.
Well, like maybe you're trying to say, do they speak about addiction in rehab?
Right, like. Not really, but go on.
Well, I could speak on on my experience of rehab. Everybody wants to talk about it because fucking addicts are egocentric. You know, they love to talk about themselves. Hence, one of the reasons why I'm here, right? So, so yeah, do you have fucking Jim in the back screaming, "I'm a crackhead," you know, and then the other one's like, "Oh, I love heroin," you know. So.
Well, you know what I realized? I think when you do drugs, and what I realized, like, personal experience is that everybody, when you're in the scene, everybody's trying to compete. Like, it's like, okay, I did 2 MDs, and it's like, yeah, well, I did 2 MDs, and I started a line of coke, and I did LSD. And I feel like that energy kind of stays in rehab, where it's like, you're doing cocaine, well, I do fucking crack. Like, it's like,
exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's really that.
And I would be like, I'm running, like, oh my god, scary shit.
You're like, I drank water.
No, literally.
Hey, do we have time to talk about the scene a bit?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no time limit. It's just fucking hot in here, but...
Maybe we'll make this 2 parts.
Tabarnak.
Yeah, sorry.
The scene.
This might be me, because I'm so beautiful.
Well, there is 4 really hot people in one room, so...
I know.
Are you calling yourself hot?
Egocentric,
so you think you're
remember
pretty.
that.
So you think you're pretty.
I'm pretty.
Talk about the scene, Pasqualino.
The scene is a rabbit hole. It's fun. The scene could be any type of scene for anybody. But, like, the deeper you get into the scene, the darker everything gets around you. And for me, the scene was the... sorry?
I said, and the darker the people are, like...
Be careful the way you say
that.
God! No, but you know what I mean.
2020,
like,
BLM,
I mean,
you know?
BLM, but I mean, like...
I get it,
I mean, like, you know, you get there, it's just, like, the more you go down, the more you get, like, the people around you are just, like,
and
in a
you start
place
realizing everyone that you're hanging out with is they're all... Listen, I can't speak for everyone. They're all broken in their own ways, and they're all just looking for being socially acceptable, or they're looking for love in a place that they've never gotten it, right? And
absolutely.
So
the
I was...
The scene is very accepting.
The scene is very accepting.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
You go in the drug scene and no one will ever shame you for what you're doing.
Because
and
they
that's
have enough
why
fucking shame on themselves.
Exactly. That's why you feel so, like, comfortable in that scene, because it's like, oh, I'm going to go here with my friends, do drugs,
There's
listen
no
to this
judgment.
crazy music, do whatever. There's no judgment. And when you're in it, you're like, wow, I wish everybody would be like this, so unjudgmental. But then you get out of it and you're like, hold on a minute, like, it's kind of fucked up that everybody was supporting me, ruining my body, you know what I mean? Ruining my mental health, ruining myself. So it's a kind of so accepting, but very, very, very toxic
Exactly.
scene.
Yeah.
And that scene is, like I said, just for about anybody, right? Listen, I have friends that, they were going clubbing every single week, and I was part of it too. And that's a scene. That's a scene. It's true, but you know, like going to bed fucked up at 5 a.m. twice a week is not healthy. I don't care what age you are. That's not healthy. And that's a scene on its own. Then you're known as the guy that goes to this club all the time, right? I've been there. I'm not judging those people. I've been there. I was that guy.
But speaking of judging, anyways, so my boyfriend doesn't do drugs anymore, but it's still like, to be honest, it's a battle every single day. And like, I've literally seen him at his worst, but like, let's say we'll go to a party and he's like, obviously it's on the table, but he's not doing it. But obviously just being there is hard for him, you know? And I'm just kind of like, I don't want to put myself in a position, but I'm like, I'm there and I'm like, I don't want to say I'm judging the people who are doing it, but he's always like, don't look at them like that, like don't look at them weirdly. And I'm like, you know, like, because I don't understand and I haven't been there, it's kind of why I'm just like, ugh, like I almost want to save them all and be like, you don't need this. Like he's like, don't look down on them. And you know, like, he's able to understand that more because he's been through that. But me, who really hasn't, and who went through my traumatic whatever, I'm a bit like, hey, I don't need to be at a party with people like this. Like, it sounds a bit like I'm too good for everyone here, and that's not my intention at all. But I just, like, for one, I wouldn't want my boyfriend being at a party where he's gonna feel like maybe, I should do it, it's socially acceptable here, and I'm the bitch who's like, no, you're not, when I'm actually trying to just better him. So I'd rather just not be at a party.
So if there's one thing that I learned from the scene, is exactly what we're talking about, the no judgment zone, right? And I took that out of the scene, and like, you have your own perspective on life, and it's okay to have your judgment. I still judge people every day. Fuck, on my drive here, I judge like 10 people in the cars.
Not the girl at Starbucks giving you the coffees?
Oh, she was sweet. She's really nice. She knows my name.
Well, do you know hers?
Oh my god.
No, I don't.
Is that
she's no, she's an older lady. She's an older lady.
She knows my name.
It's okay, nothing like a cougar.
I'm open to those ideas too, you know.
Guys,
Pascal,
I'll put your Insta in the description so that they can easily find you.
And you're where he cuts hair. So if you guys want to do it in a subtle way,
make an appointment.
Yeah. Or if you have a boyfriend, bring your boyfriend to get his haircut and show up too.
Oh shit! Now you're gonna have a bunch of angry husbands trying to fucking email.
Who says they're married?
Who says they're married? Yeah. So yeah, just honestly live life with no judgment. No.
I thought you were gonna say live life with no drugs, no judgment.
No, you know what? You do you. You do you.
Literally, everybody at the end of the day has their own path.
Yeah.
I essentially kicked my brother out of the house, so what the fuck do I know?
Well, you actually saved him if you want to look at it that way.
That's. Right? I think that you should look at it that way. I think that when, you know, everybody's so quick to say, what the fuck, like, you snitched on me, but when you look back at it, it's like, wow, you're doing the right thing. Yeah. You know? Do you have anything else that you would like to say before
I did, and then I forgot.
That happens a lot here.
That happens a lot.
When you have the cameras and the lights.
Normally, so what's the face we do when that happens?
Yeah, honestly, like I was saying before, life is short, and it's too short to spend it being miserable. And just fucking do you, be happy, live with no judgment. Listen, like I said, I was judging a bunch of people on my way here, but in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can even say that I'm like I'm not gonna lie and say here that I'm not like a judgmental person, but I feel like being friends with Veronica, who's like a little bit of opposite of me, she's actually opened my eyes to so much.
Oh, you need that.
Like, so much, and I feel like that's why our friendship works so well.
Do you want to make out with me?
Oh my god, I said you a nice
Let's go, let's finish off the podcast.
Black out the screen, black out the screen.
Cutscene.
I don't know if you know what I mean.
No,
but I just feel like
I do.
She's been like through a lot of shit that I haven't, and like she's actually opened my eyes and literally helped me in so many ways, like just like understand.
Yeah. Well, I think the best thing about
people that you could learn from.
Yeah, I think the best thing about going through things is kind of like a lot of people don't go through the same things and kind of sharing your experience or portraying it. And I always say, like, it's okay, so it's very normal to judge people. I hate saying, I don't judge people, because everybody does. You look at somebody right away, you judge somebody. But I always say it's not the first thought that matters, it's always the second one. So when you look at somebody, it's my favorite, like, I always think of that because it's very easy to look at somebody and say, and I don't want to be mean, but just like think in your head something about their appearance and then think to yourself and say, that was really mean for me to say, like, I actually take that back.
Yeah.
I catch
And
myself doing that though.
that's the difference between a good person and a bad person, is realizing that it's the second thought that matters, not the first one. Do you know what I mean? And that's how you train your brain.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
But it's
Yo,
true. That's how you train your
This
brain.
is such a great experience. I'm like learning from you guys, you know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I'll send you my invoice at the end.
I'm done.
Wait, I thought I was sending you my invoice. That's fucked up.
But I really want to say thank you for coming on the show. I think that it's really important that people hear like these experiences, and especially we have a really local following and a lot of people know you, and it makes even bigger of an impact when you actually know somebody. It's easy to listen to an interview of a celebrity who went through similar things, but when it's somebody you know and you really get to know these things that a lot of people wonder, I'm sure, like, it's really
and everybody has a friend, family member, someone going through it, even if they're not. Like, everybody knows somebody, and I feel like, you know, just like wanting to help, like all these things are just like, it's so eye-opening for so many people.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much
Honestly,
for coming.
it was my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Peace out, guys.
Peace out,
Peace.
guys.